The Switch is home to many indie titles that are arguably better than some AAA games. Recently, an Indies Direct from Nintendo UK released a new title called Bad North. This is one of a few simple strategy games that have entered the eShop, but it is in my opinion that this particular title is much more than just a simple strategy game. When you enter the title screen, you come face to face with a hopeless sight of being surrounded by Viking longships. The music accents this thought pretty well and really captures what you'll be experiencing through every playthrough. And I say every playthrough because while this game can be deceptively simple, I got quickly eliminated during portions of the game where I simply did not know what to expect. When you lose all of your commanders, that's it. It's time to start over from the very beginning. And due to every level being procedurally generated, this can lead to some slightly different experiences each time you play. When you begin a new game, you get your typical options of difficulty and whether or not you want the tutorial. Although, you only get two options of difficulty, normal or hard. I attempted to play on hard due to the simplistic nature of the game, but after my first death, I decided to try out normal to gauge how different they are. Controls are simple to understand, and it doesn't take too long to understand how the enemies come in waves via their different forms of Viking sea vessels. The camera moves very smoothly and stays centered on the island, but you can slightly move the camera any direction you want to keep the action in focus. Time actually slows down when switching between squads and giving orders, which adds even more to the fact that this is a good entry point to real-time strategy games. As being someone who has played quite a few RTS games, this feature doesn't make the game too easy, as setting destination points with the joysticks can take a little time. Once you've defeated the feared final wave, you accumulate gold from the houses you were able to protect from the Viking hordes, and give them out to whichever squads that you want. This is when I started having some gripes about the game. It could have been due to my capture card, but I noticed some wild stuttering during menu or deployment portions of the gameplay. The Switch should be able to run this game with no problem. Also, I didn't realize that the islands surrounded in dashed lines would actually become unavailable on my next turn. It's a nice addition and adds to the strategy of where to go, but I missed out on a couple islands in the first playthrough because of this. Finally, while the controls were very simple to understand, there was a key mechanic that took me a few islands to see that it existed. When you are in the overworld map, you can actually press down in order to access an upgrade path for your commanders. I had no idea what the coins were for at first, but fortunately I picked up on this fairly quickly. They should have just made this a little more obvious for anyone else who doesn't decide to try all the buttons while on the map. That being said, I really enjoyed when strategy games give you an upgrade path to customize your own experience whichever way you think is best. Sure, there aren't that many choices, but between items you'll find and splitting squads into different groups, this allows enough depth to make the game more interesting than a simple strategy game. You can promote your militia into one of three groups: archers, infantry, or pikes. Archers are great against unshielded enemies, but weak to any melee units. Infantry are great at blocking arrows while taking down simple militia, but don't have any ranged attacks. And pikes absolutely obliterate most melee units, but are vulnerable to archers and can't attack while moving. It's this very common rock, paper, scissors approach that we can see with nearly any RTS game. They can also learn certain abilities to make their combat even more effective. As a side note, I actually really enjoy using the slow motion to see how these little guys fight each other. So what about audio? It's no secret that this game is using a particular art style that looks a bit cartoonish. But man, these sounds fit right in. Little twangs of the bows and reactions that the squads make just make me smile at how bright it can sound during all this blood and death. Throw in some weather elements and it seriously becomes a game that sounds just as good as it looks. And it looks very good. I'm not sure if enough people appreciate just how amazing these types of art styles are. Water looks great, arrows sinking into the water look great, and rain flying across your screen during a windy rainstorm just makes everything even better. And you'll be happy to know that in handheld mode, this game plays absolutely flawlessly. In fact, with the added touch controls, it's probably a better experience than playing in docked mode. Being able to tap on the characters, tap where they need to go, and tap all their actions out, is absolutely beyond easy. Now, will this be worth your $15? Short answer, yes. If you're into strategy games, are looking to get into strategy games, or at least love pitting tiny drawn characters into fights to the death for your sixth satisfaction, you'll love this title. I've already sunk a few hours into this game, and by looking at the large map in front of me, I can tell this is going to take a while, which is a great thing.